All right, so it being 7 o'clock on July 20th, 2021, I'd like to call to order the Bellingham Board of Health meeting. I'm Kelly McGovern, Chair. Vincent Forty Jr., member.
Vice Chair.
Bruce, oh, you're Vice Chair, sorry. I keep thinking you're the member at large.
Yeah, I know.
Bruce Wilson, our health agent, and Tina Griffin, our minutes clerk. Is there anybody else here? Oh, and Robbie Griffin, our tobacco compliance officer and food inspector. All right, so according to our agenda, the first thing is to review our minutes from June 29th and review the tasks.
Okay.
On said minutes.
Okay.
Did you review this already, Vinny? Because
I
read
did.
through it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes as written for June 29th, 2021.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is unanimous. What are on here? What's on here that we need to review? Let's see. Bruce Wilson. Copy of letter from Grace. So 12 Ronda Road, the storage tank leak. Was that handled all set, Mr. Wilson, or?
Yeah, no, that was taken care of. That was an older letter from the environmental company. Chris and I had both responded to that. And it was an outdoor tank that had a top feed. So something was going on with the pump or the draw from the furnace that was causing that to continually to run until it, hold on a second here. There we go, Laura's jumping in. It put about half of the tank into the ground in the backyard, so they had to remove the soil and
Did we find out why we weren't contacted on that one?
that was not the case in that. I did get a call. I was thinking of something different, but both Chris and I did respond to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought there was another one, and it wasn't. That was the same one.
And can we look into doing some sort of outreach on outdoor oil tanks like we had mentioned before?
Yep.
Yeah, I had talked to Chris about that, and he and I are definitely are going to try to put something together that we can. I don't know whether we post it or.
Well, Medway Oil had mentioned they'd consider assistance in that. And
Cool.
giving maybe some sort of, especially if there's a bunch of people that need to get exterior tanks replaced. It might be a good
Gotta be a
idea to
bunch
do
of them.
maybe more than one company so that people can choose their own. But that's definitely something that maybe you and Laura can work on, some sort of announcement or cooperating with other heating companies to maybe replace an exterior old tank, because we've had multiple spills in that area especially. Cool. Okay.
Yes, probably 3 companies would be good. So we have 3, it's sort of like you can pick and choose out of 3. When there's 1 or 2, it sort of slants it to a particular company,
Yeah.
It won't be competitive.
I spoke to Midway Oil, God, probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
And they were very interested in doing something, obviously. So, but I agree. I think we should have more than one company, or they can choose whomever they want. But if there's some sort of incentive to, I don't know. Just an idea.
Who else are the bigger companies that are over that way? I use Benny's Oil over in Franklin. I don't know if they're a big Bellingham, but
I don't think it'll matter. I think anything that's local to Bellingham, Medway, Franklin.
Yep. And some of the tanks that are outside, we especially, probably because they're slab houses, we especially need to know that they're not, totally unenclosed, and that the bottom drain, if it's an old tank, it has the bottom drain. That's where the water accumulates. I guess if you have a top drain, same thing happens. If you have one that's on the side or a top drain, water accumulates on the bottom, oil floats in the water.
that's right.
Wants the bottom out. If you have a tank that draws from the bottom, and even one that's going outside should be drawn from the bottom all the way up. That way there, you only get oil. And there's got to be a filter to clean it. So
Some of those are so old, they're not even double walled. I mean, some of them are just
right.
old, and that's why they're leaking. And that it's not covered on your homeowner's insurance.
It is not
So this
unless you
is
buy the
something
rider.
we
It's
said we wanted to do
relatively
3 years ago.
expensive. Yep.
Yep. All right. I don't see anything else from last minutes. Do you, Vinny?
No, I think we're all set on that.
All right. New business, old business, nothing. Okay.
We got our first, I was on the phone with Maven today. We got our first monkeypox case.
Great.
Fortunately, the guy was on a plane to Florida and he's in Florida quarantining. So
Okay.
Florida is quarantining and monitoring his contacts. So
Yeah.
he can stay down there until he feels better, right?
Now, do we know from the state whether the monkeypox, which I've heard is breaking out here and there, is something from people who travel to countries of third world, or is it?
This guy was exposed on an international flight.
Okay. I was hoping it wasn't somebody having exotic animals, not vaccinated and transmitting it. There are a few diseases you can catch from animals,
They told me it was a low risk. He was one of 20 on a smaller plane. It was an international flight and they're all being quarantined.
Okay, got it. So to go with smallpox, we have monkeypox now. Great.
Yeah.
Why didn't they call it a monkeypox?
I don't, I'm gonna have to research that if it starts to become.
I think it is basically certain countries, and it is from monkeys, I believe, it's transmitted. So, yeah.
You gonna turn into a monkey?
Smallpox basically, I think, came from cattle that were, not vaccinated, and that's basically, I think, where that came from. But that was not only pandemic, it was endemic. You got animals from, how do we call it, like an international market, or you got animals from herds that were bred with other animals, and basically, I thought we eradicated it, but I think they said there was some cases now where some children are getting the smallpox now. Not like the old people who had the 13 needles. It's one little needle where they erupt the skin with a little bit of the, the virus, whatever, and then you develop antibodies to it. So I do know at the military, wherever you go, you get all the vaccines. You say, well, I don't need that anymore. Yeah, you do. We go to another country that's not at the same medical level as the United States, so, which is basically everywhere. Because in the military, you can't refuse anything. It's sorry.
All right. Let's see, next is, since Robbie's on here, Robbie, do we have any tobacco and food updates? I see that there's invoices. I think we had some failures, didn't we?
Yeah, so the first day that I went on the food inspections, we did have a number of failures. A lot of it was temperature related. So obviously it was, when I started going out, was kind of during that hotter stretch.
Right.
One of the locations in particular, I don't know if I can name the business particularly, but was one of the businesses on the south end of town. I think I had to go back 4 times because their air conditioning unit was not working and they had some food temperature issues caused by that, as well as some other compliance issues. The one that we shut down is now reopened.
Okay.
And then there's several others just kind of ran into the same things. A couple of them were just that the backs of the refrigeration units got either debris behind them or were covered from not, being cleaned properly, and the buildup caused the cooling, like the coils, to overwork or overheat so that they weren't cooling properly.
Yeah.
So that was the case in a couple of them, or overstacking the food when it was warmer. So those have kind of tailed off a little bit with the cooler weather we've had. We did do compliance checks for tobacco. In total, we had 5 failures. So those fines were issued, and to my knowledge, no one has submitted anything to dispute them yet. There were a couple that were a little bit concerning. One of them was the smoke shop on the south end of town that recently sold. They formerly had a card reader that was mandated that was turned off because they said that they've had a number of issues with their customers where they were no longer an adult only location and they were selling other products. It was requiring an ID for sale for every product. So they were saying when they were selling masks or hand sanitizer and things like that, that it caused some issues. But This was the first compliance check we've done since then, and they failed, so that was a little bit concerning. There was also sales at Speedway, which it was their second offense, so they will be starting a suspension soon. And the Irving on the north end of town has now changed owners, so this is their first offense
Okay.
under the new ownership.
Okay.
So so is that in our reg that if it's under new ownership, they start all over again?
Yeah, so anytime that there's a new ownership change, they get basically carte blanche.
If you
Although they
remember
were
the
a
north
while
end,
ago.
I think if you remember the north end, when that lady came to us from Irving, she said, yeah, they never really sold and they have all that stuff. And then we told her, because she was an Irving representative, that they had sold quite a bit actually in the past. And that the fine was whatever it was and the suspension was 30 days. I don't think she liked us, but whatever. Hopefully she's not still in the process of selling these businesses to other people, but I think it's fair if you start off with, you know, whatever the name is, if you start off as a new establishment owner, you should get a, how do I say it? Your slate wiped clean.
Start over.
They
Well, I
will
know
be-
that they had a couple of violations back to back, but I think that was a while ago now that I think about it, so.
Yeah.
The only other one that I think to bring to you guys as a contention is the Richdale's food shop on the south end of town actually closed, so we will have another permit available, I would assume. I think once they vacated the premises that their permit becomes null and void, but I didn't know if that was in fact the case.
Mm.
They're not in business, they're closed? Is
They
there like a
moved-
sign?
They moved to Blackstone.
They moved-
They just put a sign up in the door.
Okay.
Well, why don't we, if maybe Laura can reach out or Bruce can reach out to see if in fact they are indeed closed and we can put that permit up for grabs,
They moved all of the product out. I just wasn't sure if
right?
their permit expired at the end of the year, or if someone was to apply for it sooner,
Right.
if it was available. We do
I would
have to,
imagine if it were available now, why wouldn't somebody else be able to grab it, right, Ben? I mean,
Correct.
if
Yep.
if
I
they're
agree.
not, using them. So
Yeah.
maybe if we could find that out, that would be great.
Do we have anybody, Rob, thinking of occupying that store?
not particularly that store. I do know that there was rumblings of another store that was going to be opened on that street,
Okay.
but I know that with our 500-foot rule, that could be iffy either way. So
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we have some first violating tickets, and do we have, or reprimands, but do we have second ones in there?
we do.
Yeah.
So Speedway was a second.
Speedway.
Vets Package Store was actually another one. So they have not had a sale in the past, but they did have the violation for the permitting and licensing from last year.
Yep.
So that is one that I did not give out yet. I wasn't sure how we were going to do that because I didn't know if we were counting the state and local license and local license as violations 1 and 2, or if this is just their second violation.
Rob,
No.
did you see the email I sent over? They're supposed to be discussing on a webinar tomorrow, some of those issues. So I sent you the
Yes,
email
I
with
did
the-
get that from Sarah McColgan.
Yeah.
The one you sent from Sarah McColgan, I should say.
Okay. So that'll determine whether it's a second or a third. Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
When we wrote the fine originally, we had wrote it as the lack of a permit was the first violation and the
Right.
lack of a state license was a second.
Okay.
But with obviously all of those changes and that happened on the state level, I wasn't sure if this was going to then count as their second or as a third. So I can hop on that meeting tomorrow and kind of see what their thoughts are. But I think that the meeting tomorrow is more just high level talking about this is what the fine values are for certain events.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then is there a value of waiting, or should we just say it's going to use just a local? So it'd be their second. I don't know. What do you think, Cal? Versus if we use the state fine, state license missing, then it would be their third offense. So. I don't know.
But the first offense was indeed just, it was the permit, right? That
Permit,
was,
yes, our permit, right.
And this was a tobacco violation, right?
Yeah, so the first violation when we wrote it was permit and license all in one.
Yeah.
But because of how it was written, it counted as their first and second violations because they ended up serving a suspension.
Okay,
I don't do, so we actually combine those violations with tobacco, huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. What do you think, Kel? I mean, we can either wait to the meeting, but I guess, Robbie, what you're saying is, it looks like they're not going to explain this. They're going to explain other things. Or-
Yeah, they are from my conversation with Sarah that I had prior. They were just going to be going over the actual violations themselves. More of the stacking is up to the individual boards typically, but it's definitely a question I can pose tomorrow if they have,
Okay, either that or we can just count it a second and, eliminate
I
that
kind of
other.
like the idea of the second offense as well, because that one, I know we're in the middle of COVID.
It's all local, yeah.
They jumped right on that one to fix that one because it was, if you remember, that was in conjunction with another establishment next door that was like
Right.
some screw up with the state.
yeah.
So I think in that one, if you're okay with it, Vinny, I kind of like the idea of the second offense versus a third.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I was suggesting right from the beginning. So that way there, Rob can still attend it, but he just said, I think it's a local board decision, and I'd rather not count the state one and make it a third. I'd rather say, let's stick with local.
I think we should make a notation on what we're doing to show that we are being, pretty fair, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a second offense, yeah.
And just one thing to update with as well. I know in the past we had granted lenience for due to COVID and things like that. When people had violations, they could obviously come in and talk about it. The state is no longer allowing us to do that. They are saying that the fines are the fines. So we can't discount those at all if someone does have a violation.
Okay. So in this case here, Robbie, for the second, it's what? It's a fine only, or is it 7-day suspension included?
It's both. It's a $2,000 fine and a 7-day suspension.
Okay. That's fine. So I think we keep it at the local level, our fines only, and, in terms of our offenses, which is no license the first time, forget the state. And then this one here, sale to a minor, right? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay, so, and that one to me is probably more, how do I say it? The wrong thing to be happening, the license is important too, but I'd like to emphasize, we wouldn't get rid of the license, say this is your first offense because it's a sale. No, it's a second offense and it's not a third. So I think we're in the middle. We're being fair as we can, and we'll just do it that way. So we need a motion or not? Probably not, right?
I think we're okay. I just wanted to get your guidance on it.
Okay, good. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rob.
And see what they say tomorrow. If you have time to sit in that meeting, it might be good to hear what they have to say, if you
Yeah.
have time.
Yeah, Sarah's probably having that meeting partially because of me, since I've talked her ear off quite a bit about this.
That's fine. Little old Bellingham making our mark. Okay.
All right, permitting process updates. How's that coming? Welcome back, Laura, from vacation. I saw your boating pics.
So on the permitting thing there, Laura and I and Leanne, and actually involved Robbie on that, coming up with a plan going forward, working out some of the bugs with the software or the learning curve with the software that we had encountered. We've created a spreadsheet to keep track of them. We're going to be notifying them in October and then again in November this time, just so that people understand, that
How are you going to be notifying them?
I'm sorry,
How will you be notifying them?
by mail.
Regular mail, snail mail?
Yes, mail.
Okay, good. Because some of the emails were town emails. So,
That's all been updated.
all right, that's good. But I
Yeah,
still
because
like the
the program
sample
is
idea.
somewhat automated, but if you don't have the proper
Yeah,
information with it,
that's
it
right.
wasn't kicking it out.
Will
Exactly.
we send it return receipt or will we just assume they
No.
got it? No, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay.
I think too, going forward, when is they're due on what, by January 30th? Is that what it is?
January 1st, but I was gonna give them a grace of the month of January. If we don't have them, we would start.
Is that what it is now?
Right.
What's the grace? Is there a grace period now or no? Is it January 1st?
I believe there's a 30-day grace period.
Should be 30, yeah, 30.
There's a 30. So I would say, but if they're not in by that date, that's when the office should be making calls and saying.
Yeah, no,
"Close
making
your doors."
calls.
Right.
That-
Close your doors until you, I mean, especially if it's automated, they can do the fee right online.
Exactly.
Right. I guess my only concern with the online stuff was, it appears, now I did talk to other people in the town. They said, well, hey, you don't want to mess this thing up. This online stuff is really great. I said, well, it's great if you get the permit and you get the money for the permit. If you get neither, someone should be alerted. So I'm saying the company that sold us this software, and I'm sure it wasn't cheap for the whole town, they should have did what they call testing their software. And when it failed, we shouldn't be paying this company for this
I
round.
think that's the problem. I don't think we knew it failed in this
No, no.
respect.
Yeah,
There's
there's
There were
some,
too many of them that weren't there.
there's some tweaking that's going on. We've asked for some modifications to it to streamline it or make it a little more automated and easier, friendly to use. So I mean, there's been a lot of discussion back and forth. Rob has actually spoken to Permit Eyes as well as, a couple tickets that Laura and I have submitted in. So that, it makes it an easier process.
So who's left that haven't paid and why haven't they paid yet?
Everybody's done. We're done. We got them all.
Everyone's in there. Great. So everybody, all of our food permits are up to date.
We're waiting on two, where the checks are in the mail.
They can't do it online, huh?
Yeah, not
Well,
everybody's,
put it this way here.
Which ones are, they're not like a supermarket, right?
no, those are up, actually, one of them, I don't know why it was doing that. The program was saying that it didn't have a permit when it actually did.
Okay, good. And did they have a
Which one?
permit?
Because there were
Paid
two
for it.
biggies on there.
Market Basket,
Market basket, yeah.
Well, Stop and Shop was on there too.
yeah.
All right,
So I
well,
get-
let's just,
Right. I guess,
we only have two left and those are in the mail.
right,
Yeah, those are in the mail.
okay,
All right, good. Okay.
okay. So
Two quick
going
things.
forward, we shouldn't have an issue with,
Well, going forward, I
7
think we have to
months.
put on our calendar,
right,
February 1st or January 31st.
right,
Whoever does not have a permit that
Yeah, we
did,
created,
we're
Laura
gonna
and
make a
I,
phone call, say close up or go online and pay. I mean, it's just that simple.
correct, yeah.
Laura and I created a spreadsheet to track it. And then again, we'll follow up with phone calls at the end of January if they don't come in.
Yeah,
Threaten them with a
I
fine.
see that thing, the permitting process in our package.
Yeah.
Health department.
Yeah, I think Robbie, when he had talked to us, he had said, what did we have for like a fine system? And I said, well, we really didn't. So initially, I went to talk in the building department. They said, well, we don't double it unless it's willful. And I said, so then I went over to Larry and I went over to treasurers and they said, it's like a tax bill. It's 14% per annum. So in other words, on $1,000 permit, they pay an extra $70 plus a $5, what they call surge permit fee. So it's for them to process it. So technically on $1,000 permit, they pay $75 or $80. Kind of a joke considering.
At this
But
point,
as
I
a
just
small
want everybody
business-
to have a permit, Vinny,
Right.
at this point, yeah.
Well, no,
Let's
7
just
months
get
is
it-
a long time. So the
It's a
small
very long
businesses would be paying like $20, which I consider that, someone might say it's worth not having the permit,
The ones that are paying, Bruce, are they doing the,
Most of them are paying online.
so those have the late fee or no?
Most of them are paying online. There are still a few people that are hand carrying checks in.
The ones that are paying online 7 months late, though, the question is, are they paying a late fee or no?
No, everybody's just paying the fee.
So at this point, Vanny, I think it's fair that everyone should just pay the
Pay the
fee.
fee, that's fine, okay.
Going
got it.
forward, we'll do that, but at this point, I think all around, everyone, we were relying on a system that just wasn't,
Correct.
it was
I
too
think
new to
Going
rely
forward
on.
though, maybe in our December meeting or January meeting, we should probably set something if you miss it by more than
Yeah,
one
no,
or two
that
days.
was one of in the notification that goes out, if you miss the deadline, then you're subject to $100 fine or double the fee.
Yeah, let's say 100. That way there, it's fair for everybody, and I don't think people will do it again. Because this was really, I think, software driven.
But it's also on our radar now too, so I mean, that's all. that
Correct.
matters.
Yeah,
As long as
exactly.
everyone-
When Rob goes out, I sat with Rob quite a while on several phone calls. So when Rob goes out to do an inspection, he has the permit eyes as well as the food program on there. So he'll go into the permit eyes, get the permit number to put into his form. If it's not, excuse me, if it's not there, it'll cause a red flag right away.
Okay, so we'll catch it really quick.
Yeah, so we got
Okay,
different levels of trying to catch the culprits.
Just
okay.
a question to piggy off of that, regarding that. So is it actually I know it's part of a lot of regulations, but is it part of our regulation that they have to have the permit posted in a conspicuous area? Because a lot of them don't have them hanging. So I either have to ask, whoever's in charge to go dig through paperwork, and half the time they say, I got to call my manager and it'll be here next week.
Does
I
it
think
say
it should
on
be
the
posted.
permit? Does it say on the permit itself to be posted? Because usually they do, don't they?
We can have that adjusted. I think it's a good idea to put it on.
Let's do
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do that.
We
and
don't
that
want
helps.
Robbie to have to ask them where it is and then say, well, we'll get it for you next time you come in. No, we're not gonna pay Robbie to go out to check out something that they should have put out there in the first place, I know we're building
Especially
permits.
if the permit now will say, place in a prominent area of your business.
Conspicuous place, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yep. And maybe
now-
right at the service desk, is a good place in the window showing it. That way they can just walk over and look at it,
So now within the system, is this something that Robbie can put his food inspections in? Everything's all in one place?
Yeah, Rob and I have been working with Permit Eyes and with the Food Pro company as to creating some sort of a link that we can get in. They still haven't quite worked out all the bugs, but they're supposedly hours away from being able to do it. I mean, Rob did post a lot of them in there, but for some reason we can't see them or whatever and get the info back off. So they're working up a better link that we can put that in, but that'll also allow us to put other comments in as well. Like if I did an inspection and something wasn't right, I could, I can make mention of that, like my housing inspection today. We have one particular landlord in town who's a real bum.
They may have to maybe increase the size of a file to be attached. It might be that some of them might be too large. They might have to increase the amount of
Yeah, cash.
storage.
Yeah, that's right.
Most of the inspection reports that come out of my program are 11 to 15 pages. So they're
Yeah,
good
so they're
size,
large. Yeah,
especially if there's
that's
pictures.
probably what it is.
Yeah. But is that crashing it, Robbie, or is it not? It's just.
No, they haven't created a decent link yet. It's
Okay.
they're gonna put a tab in that page so that you can click on the tab and download the document.
Okay.
What he was doing was downloading a document that it was going in a different location, and then when we go back to recall it, it wasn't able to find it.
All right. Anything else on the permitting process? Anything else that we should be doing that we're not doing? Or we think we got it? Sounds like we got it.
I think we're pretty well. I mean, we put our heads together quite a bit. Laura, myself, Tim, Leanne, Rob. I think we got a good plan going forward.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, next is health agent complaints. What do we got?
Oh my God. Lots of long grass, Housing complaints left
Had
and
10
right.
inches of rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
housing complaints left and right. The his sewage treatment building has failed. They're in the process of trying to get a sewer permit. DEP is involved. They're currently pumping each day the gallons out of the holding tanks rather than trying to get them into the field because they can't get the board to work to get the pumps to generate the flow properly. Couple trash, chickens, more chickens, and more chickens.
With
Yeah,
the chicken one, I tagged both you and Laura on that one, only so you can see who is not abiding by our.
No, I know,
livestock
we've only had 2 or 3 people apply for the permit this year. And
Yeah.
not that-
Well, there's another part then that we have to start.
Yeah,
jumping
right,
on.
we gotta figure out a better way to
Well,
chase them
yeah,
down.
same thing. It's the same exact thing as with food permits. So
Correct.
whenever those are due, if we're gonna make a phone call or go out there and
Yep.
they got.
The trouble is, you don't know about the chicken until somebody complains.
No,
Correct.
we have a whole list of all of our livestock permits from years past
Right.
with all their phone numbers, all their emails, because we went through a lot of hearings on that and they all signed and they all got their permits. So if they don't have a permit the following year, or a field call, just going out there, do they still have chickens? Well,
Right.
we do know who has the chickens.
Yeah.
It's
Let me
whether
ask
they
you-
permit or not.
Right, I got a quick question. If someone comes in fairly brand new to town and they got a good sized backyard, it's suburban, so they can have them. But they just build this, at one point you can see it from the road. There's posts in the ground, there's wire all the way around it, and it's got a little netting on top, so it's not a dog. I guess it could be birds, but birds, chickens, same thing. How do they know to get one? That's the issue. Do we have it on our website, maybe?
Yeah, it's a livestock, it's on
It
the
is,
website.
okay. Not that
Well,
anybody would
you
look
have
at
to
that.
go, the thing is though, you have to go looking for it. It's not like it says in
Correct.
bold letters, if you have chickens, you have to get a
Right.
permit.
Yeah.
But that's something that we need to put on our calendar,
Checklist.
just like the food permits, that we have to make calls and follow up on the livestock permits.
Right.
Definitely. When are those due? The same time as food permits?
Actually, April.
April, yeah.
We've got to put that on the calendar. I think Laura just already left, but that's something that definitely has to be done too. All of them, every permit that we
Right,
issue. has
just
to be
call them.
kept
Yeah, just
on.
call them. Yeah. And the new ones, Bruce, I guess as you're going by, other than complaints, if you see this thing that looks like a chicken coop,
And you
smells
know
like
what
a
else?
chicken.
Here's another thing. I mean, if we have it on the calendar when these permits are due, there's no reason why Laura can't go on the Facebook page for Bellingham Board of Health. Reminder, if you
Correct,
have any livestock, your permit, you need to get a permit.
Right.
And you need to do, we should be putting more and more stuff on our social media. 'cause
Yeah, it's a
people are
public
looking
service
at it.
address, right, yeah.
So if we
That's a good
put that on
point.
the calendar and she puts it out there, people are gonna start seeing it. It's just, just trying to think of ways to be a little more proactive on getting them in, maybe, I don't know.
It'll be like us doing like our Earth Day. We put it on a month or two before we say, okay, we're gonna do this. Last year we didn't do it because of COVID, but that kind of thing there where we publicize it, I don't know, maybe we could put it on they do say like certain times, like for
No, I
permits,
think,
burn permits.
I
Why don't we
think
do
putting
that?
some sort of a calendar on the Facebook page is a pretty good idea.
But like we did burn permits, we do recycling centers open. Maybe we could put.
Yeah,
it
no,
on the-
exactly. I mean, put a calendar with all
Billboard out
kinds of
there
different
saying-
things, Earth Day.
But it's also
Livestock
a
permits are
reminder for
required in the
us.
town of
Yeah.
Bellingham.
It's
Yeah.
also a reminder for us. Like we used to get a calendar with what was due in January, February, March. We haven't gotten those in a while.
Correct.
But what's supposed to happen and so on, that could be part of the calendar.
Yeah,
Then we
good
know
idea.
to check up on these permits and then post it on our Facebook page, I don't know.
It's a good idea.
We also have service dog complaints.
You know, the Home Depot is probably my biggest problem there. I'm in the store and this guy comes in with a dog and the dog urinates and defecates on the floor. And when confronted, the guy tells the manager of the store to go F off.
That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong, you know.
You know, I asked him, I said, you can't have dogs. Oh, it's a therapy dog. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, it's all service dogs only. You know, can you tell me what service that dog provides? You know,
Right.
what's that dog's training in?
Right.
I don't have to tell you that. And just turns around and walks away from him.
Yeah, yeah. And the urinating and defecating, I know it's not a food store per se, like a supermarket, but either way, that is unsanitary. You know, I don't want to step in it, you know, whatever.
I
And
mean, the doors are posted, but this guy came in through the garden center and there's no.
yeah, through the garden. So that's interesting. Yeah. We got every door covered except the garden center. You're right. No, maybe
Well,
they put,
we can always say no more food permit for them.
I told the manager that, I said, you know, we're looking at possibly, you know, revoking or not re-permitting your food permit.
right.
If you're gonna let them in and freely, you know, nobody questions them. I know a number of the staff over there personally, and they've told me they've been instructed not to confront anybody with a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Oh, man.
Have you looked into the state and where they are on upgrading their regulation on service animals?
Nothing yet.
Yeah. I think that's one of those things they're just not gonna do it. There's no incentive. You know,
I've got a plug in Mike Soda's here. I don't know if that'll help or not. We'll see.
yeah, you can ask him, see if he can push that along, because, you know,
He does listen, and sometimes he's able to pull off stuff, so I'm not counting it out yet.
okay. No, what I'm saying is, you know, maybe you could reach out to him, you know, tell him the board's having a lot of problems, you're having problems as a health agent. You know, people are just, I don't know, disrespecting the environments that do have food products, you know, and, you know, the therapy dog, I think, as you had told me, it's not covered like the service animal. And you know, maybe-
Service animal and a therapy dog are two different.
correct.
However, though, just for the heck of it, I spent an afternoon researching and going online to find out what it was to get a placard or get a permit. And I was able to register Sparky, my golden retriever, without any paperwork or credentials or
Yeah, I know.
license or
Yeah,
anything.
it's fraudulent, and it's,
So I have a therapy dog.
yeah. See, the problem with that is technically there should be a big penalty for doing that. If you go create your own state license for a handgun, for a driver's license or registration, that's a criminal offense. It's not a misdemeanor. There should be the same thing when someone has a, what do we call that? An eBay bought certificate, and it's totally fake. I mean, that
Yeah.
should be criminal.
I don't-
It's not misdemeanor anymore,
It's something that definitely needs to be worked out.
you know. And you know, I mean, I haven't seen that in a while, but
The
that
only
did happen.
one that's had any success with that so far is the airlines.
Yeah, the airlines, yeah, that's fine, yeah. Okay,
Again, my coalition of Board of Health people that was part of my monthly update and request. So it's now being thought about in the 13 other towns.
okay, that's good. You know, maybe, like I said, if more than one town complains, you know, I mean, 13 out of 351 is a small number, but that's okay. Let's take all the towns that are in this area. They're fairly big towns, and you know, maybe they'll carry some weight. So I forget how many towns there are in Norfolk County, but if we get 13 of the number there are, you know, it's our county. Maybe it'll get pushed by our reps, and
It's hard because our region has a lot of Middlesex. I mean, not Middlesex. Worcester.
yeah. Oh, it does. Okay, you're
It's
talking
weird how they
regions.
divide the region versus the
Correct.
county.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about when you mentioned regions. I was thinking county, but okay. Yeah, region too. You're right. It's southern Worcester County and southern Norfolk County. So
They did make some. Well, I was talking to Vinny earlier today. They did make some changes with staff in the region too.
yeah.
They took Shane, who was the vaccine coordinator, and brought him on there, and he's now in charge of the grant program. So I'm curious to see what he's got and what he can do with it, because he's a go-getter, that kid.
Yeah, and I mentioned to Bruce this morning when we were talking about that is a good time to see if either the region or individually, if we get help on writing, you know, the grant and getting it to the right people, so we could fund an intern, you know, for something, you know, to do epidemiology stuff or other stuff that's, you know, constant problems. And, you know, like we do have state reporting on, you know, arbovirus and the stuff like, you know, zoonotic diseases, but I'm talking about after you get it and those that got it, you know, epidemiologically, how did it happen? Was it the right age group? Was it, you know, going outside after dark when without, let's say, bodyguard on, you know, for mosquitoes and ticks, you know, and stuff like that. So you can't tell people stay inside, but by the same token, you have to practice common sense, you know. Shouldn't be out there with shorts and no shirt on at night, you know, unless you're just begging to get West Nile or the other virus. You know.
To go back to the animals, we've got a beaver problem on Taunton Street.
All right.
I'm not sure if that's a level of real trouble yet, but I'll keep an eye on it. I got one particular person who's complaining that's caught the selectman's eye before on a number of other issues that he tends to be reaching, I guess is the polite way to put it. But
That one's not a new complaint. That
keep
happened.
an eye on it. I mean, that area
Hey,
is.
Bruce?
Yep.
Bruce, it's Tim.
Hey,
Good evening, everyone. How you
Hi,
doing?
Tim. How you doing?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Bruce, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about the beaver. The DPW unclogged a culvert that was on the other side of the road.
also,
They-
that's
they-
why
there was
when we went by there, the
Yeah.
levels were lower.
Yes, there was 2 clogged culverts. I found that out this afternoon. Just
Okay,
you
so
know.
when we went out there, there wasn't all that much flooding going on.
Tim, was
They
that
did it
because of
last week.
storms carrying debris down the road?
Probably they were all clogged up, 2 of them.
Okay.
So they unclogged them and the water receded.
So it's not
He said that, like,
necessarily the
I don't
beaver,
know.
it was the culvert was clogged.
I guess so. I guess it was like last week. So
Yeah.
I had to go to a complaint on that side of the road, one house over, Bruce, today.
Okay,
She said she told me the DPW was out there and cleaned out 2 of the culverts.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, even the ones on South Main where there's not any more leaves yet because fall hasn't occurred, the leaves are staying on. But we get these real thunderstorms, chunks of branches or stuff will go out and it'll just move. Sometimes if it overflows the storm drain, it'll carry all the debris on the side of the road and then just super clog it. You got to take a shovel to it. It's pretty dense. And when that happens, it just goes over the whole road. You know, it's pretty amazing.
but just anybody that happens to be down that area, take a peek as you drive by. If you see the water level backing up, we'll try to investigate a little further.
Okay, good.
But I know who the complainant is.
Yeah,
Me too.
all I can say is I got a call up in New Hampshire
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
regarding Mr. Beaver.
Okay. Yeah, I told Bruce the beavers technically, there's a whole DEP protocol. If you're a trapper, you can't remove them and go and do things. You have
I
to be
remember that.
a licensed beaver person and whatever. But, you know, it's caused major problems in the Ponset River and a few other rivers. And, you know, in some cases, near Forge Park where the access road is,
Yes, I
it was
know
knocked
that
all
one,
the
yeah.
trees down. They
Yep.
took every tree down. But it took them a while. They had to, I guess they had to get a state permit. And they went in there and took out all the trees. They eliminated all the, what do you call it, branches that were piled up near and that doesn't flood that much. I don't know. Was that a tributary off of, I don't know. But it was so bad that the road was flooded one day. I mean, literally it was cones and you had to go into the other lane to get around the puddle. It was that big. So it's, and it was beavers. You could see these nice pointed pencil sticking out of the ground, and the other end sticking up in the air. And one of the trees landed right in the access road. So it was like, I went by and I said to myself, does anybody care about this? There's a whole road blocked. But they finally sent the service company out, does the landscaping for the railroad and for the town, I guess. And they removed the trees, but they didn't go touch where the beavers were until, I think it took them like 2 months, they got a permit, and then they went in, and removed all the brush. So
Wow.
anyway, but I said to myself, why would they go there? There's a train running constantly. There's 4 lanes of traffic coming in from different ends. And I'm going, the beavers are, I guess, they're, how do we say it? They're not afraid of humans, I guess. You know, you go down there 495 where the Charles meanders out. They could have built some great dams out there. But I don't know, they liked that area. I guess it was,
We'll have to make a sign here. Maybe they'll read the sign and they'll go on.
yeah. No beavering in here.
Anyway, okay, let's keep
Okay.
going here.
We get a few bills.
Okay,
Those are all the complaints though, so it's mostly chickens and dogs and beavers. So it's all,
Chickens, dogs, beavers, tall grass,
all grass. Yeah, well, we got
and
some.
then the number of housing complaints. I went to one today up on South Main Street, where the bathtub has a leak in the wall that's got into the ceiling in the floor below and has caused a lot of issues that need to be rectified.
is it rental or is it
Yeah, it's a Section 8 rental.
Section 8 rental? Okay, fine.
How's the one doing over at Oakwood?
Oh,
She
yeah.
moved?
Oh, the smoking? I haven't heard another thing.
Well, that's good.
Good.
Did we present that to town council on that one?
I'm not sure what happened with it. I'll try to follow up on it. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know whether she got it
We're not here
resolved or
tomorrow,
something, but
but
yeah.
it's a landlord tenant issue, I think, so.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure if she moved
How
or,
about, our numbers for COVID? What are we up to? 3?
Yeah.
What?
last I know it was 3. Esther is away on vacation. So we haven't had a chance to get into Maven for the last couple of days.
Is that
Maven,
when she gets her numbers? I think.
Yeah,
we
off
got
of
our
Maven.
numbers.
Maven, if you don't check in every couple of weeks, they've revoked mine privileges on there. I'm in the process
Really?
of getting recertified to go back into Maven.
Really? That's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, we need you to be up to date on that one. That's
Yeah.
good. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I guess the state, as you know, when they were looking at the country and the recent COVID increases due to the Delta strain, I guess Massachusetts, there's a buffer 50% increase from the end of COVID to where it is now. So, you know, I'm not sure what the numbers are in other towns, but obviously if we only have 3, whatever, maybe we had 0 and going to 3, there's a 50% increase, whatever it was. But all the other towns combined, making up the state of Massachusetts, were red. There's only a couple of orange. The entire country is red now.
I mean, Massachusetts had 336 new cases today.
36,
Um,
okay.
That's a small number compared to the past, but it's put it at 1.2% probability, which is, you know,
Yeah.
it's a skewed number if you ask me, but that's,
Right.
you know.
Anyway,
And then what, half are from P-Town?
well, that's another thing. But the actual thing too is Fauci was on the news, Dr. Fauci, and he was presenting the numbers. And it's kind of amazing. After all the clinics went away and after all the news went away, even though we didn't achieve his 100-day goal, we are right now as a total country, fully vaccinated people, it's only
61%.
49.7. Those with 1 shot brings it to 56 or 58%. The rest of the country is not vaccinated at all. I'm going to myself, what's wrong with this? You know, I don't know. I guess there's people saying we're not getting it, you know. That said, there's an exterminator going out to a house that I was working at. The lady said, hey, you can't come over because he's not vaccinated and he doesn't want to go anywhere, you know. He doesn't want to go places where people are, how do we say it? Home or even if they're vaccinated, he just doesn't want anybody around. So I said, that's fine. I said, I'm fully vaccinated. I said, if I have to, I'll wear a mask, but my choice is just not to go that day, and I'll just go another day and do what I got to do. But anyway, and I would assume you're doing spraying for ants. It's outside, right? Or is it inside as well? I don't know.
Both.
Both. I just had mine done.
Okay. Cop ants?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
From all the rain, all this rain is just,
Yeah, I guess they look for shelter. Is that it? Yeah.
Food.
Yeah, as soon as they find any area to get in, they'll keep coming.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
anyway,
Okay.
all right, so those are all the updates on complaints. Bruce, we're good on that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, then.
Okay, so
Let's
let's see if you want me to go in order or just take them the way they are.
go in order. I'll help Tina out.
Okay. Hang on, let me get my second page here. Okay, yeah, it was the order I had them in. Okay, like to make a motion, we pay Amazon Capital Services $13.99.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Let's see, gotta figure where to put this stuff. Okay, so, okay, I'd like to make a motion, we pay Dave Brown and Enrique Dos Santos at 1153 South Main Street. No, it's Dave Brown, excuse me, 2 Deerfield Lane, $7,500 for septic
Betterment.
services, let's see.
The betterment bill, right?
Yeah, betterment loan, septic repair, so it's a payment for, down
All right,
payment.
for betterment. Yep. All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion is unanimous.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we pay civil site engineering for engineering services at 83 Lakeshore Drive, $225.
823 Lakeshore.
It's what?
823, I think, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously.
All right, so we've been busy. There are 6 septics for you guys to go through. And those are just the ones that needed the waivers.
Okay.
The plans are coming in 2-3 every day. So
Quite the stack here.
the town has been busy.
Yes. I'm surprised even in all this stuff, people are actually gonna try to do a septic repair. Well, I guess there's not too much new construction, right?
Yeah, but between all the rain and the extra people at home because of COVID, a lot of the systems are just way worn out.
Pulling out, yeah, okay. Okay, let's see what the first one is here. Hang on. They're in order, Bruce, I got it made, right? Let me see. If they are.
Don't count on that.
No, it's fine. Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the septic application construction permit for 118 Yvonne Road for the Fuentes. It's requiring 310 CMR 15405 1B to allow the system to be installed 6 feet to a slab foundation where 10 is required. Second variance or local grade approval, 310 CMR 15405 1B to allow septic tank to be installed 8 feet to the dwelling where 10 is required. And then the other local upgrade approval is 310 CMR 15405 1H to allow the something system to be installed. Oh, yeah. 3 feet above the groundwater where 4 is required. It's the groundwater variance, groundwater setback. Okay, that's it
That's it.
for,
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, motion is
Okay,
passed.
I'm gonna sign them off after because they'll take forever.
Good idea.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application construction permit for a local upgrade approval waiver for 10. Oh, wait a minute, okay. 61 Laurel Lane. We're going that way. 310 CMR 15405 1H to allow the septic system to be installed 3 feet above groundwater where 4 is required. just one approval on that.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye,
Aye, motion passes.
okay. Just make sure what I got here. 10 Trenton Street, okay. I'd like to make a request for a local upgrade approval for 10 Trenton Street for construction permit and just, disposal permit for this local upgrade approval, 310 CMR 15405-1C, up to a 25% reduction in required disposal area design requirements. And then 310 CMR 15405-1B to allow a reduction of the system setback to the slab foundation of 5 feet where 10 is required.
On that particular one there, you don't see the reduction in size too often, but
Right.
the area that they've got to work with has been maxed out. So I mean, that's all they can fit in there. And you're just gonna have to be cautious about the water
Yeah.
usage.
Well, I didn't look at it, Bruce, but is it it wasn't close to where we'd say, how like sometimes we do a bedroom reduction when the system is.
It should work. I mean, them soils are
Work,
good. I mean, it's just maxed out to what will fit, and
Okay,
there's only 2 people in the house, so
okay. Yeah, but if they sell it, is
Yeah,
it
I
a
know.
3-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
you've got the plan.
I got the plan. I guess I'll look at it later. That's fine. Yeah.
All right, so I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye, motion passes. I
okay.
think 326 Farm Street is on here twice, right?
Oh,
Yes, it
okay.
is. Yes, it is. Okay.
It's the
We have
plan.
5. We have
And that's
5
coming up
plans.
next. Okay. I'd like to request a local upgrade approval for the construction disposal permit for 326 Farm Street. The local upgrade approvals are 310 CMR 15405-1H to allow the septic system to be installed 3 feet above ground for water where 4 is required. It's only one local upgrade approval on that.
All right, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay. Last but not least, perfect. Okay, I'd like to make a request for a local upgrade approval for 45 Monique Drive for the construction disposal permit, 310 CMR 15405-1H to allow the septic system to be installed 3 feet above groundwater where 4 is required.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
I have another question. I do have, hang on. I do have I do have 2 plans for 326. Why is that?
You know what? It's possible it got printed off, the people are submitting stuff online, and the guy may have hand carried some in to Laura after.
Let me just make sure that I don't have a different local upgrade for that, but I don't believe I do. I believe it's the exact same one, Bruce. So
Yeah, no,
that's fine.
sometimes they submit it online, and I print them, and then sometimes after they're printed, they'll hand carry in a
So
copy.
do I sign both of those plans? Do
Just
both?
sign 3 copies and throw the others away.
Okay, got it. Okay. I think that's
Have we satisfied the
all our
agenda?
plan reviews, yes. And I
So Vinny,
believe
if you leave the envelope in your door tomorrow,
I can do.
before, when you leave in the morning, I'll just stop, pick it up, and then I'll bring it to the office.
Okay, sounds like a plan. I'll have it
And
out there
when's our next meeting?
bright and early.
August, is it August 10th?
Yeah, I believe it's the 10th of August.
Okay,
Let me look at the calendar here.
Is that right, Tina?
Yes, next meeting's August 10th.
Okay. All right, so Vinny, I think we satisfied our
okay,
agenda.
so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I second that. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good night.